I will definitely let you know before the end of this. This series is definitely one that was, it just kind of popped into my head today. And so I'll tell you guys the story behind it, and then that will allow us to jump right into um, what this is all about and helping us to start with a blank canvas today. So I was in the process of writing out my goals for the year and my goals for the month. So every day, I don't know if you guys can see this. Every day, I've been doing this one. This is a new notebook. I started this one June 15th, but every day I write out my goals for the year, and I also write out I've started writing out my goal for the month also. Last month, my goal for the month was 25K, and I wrote that out at the start of the month, and I hit that by the end of the month. This year, I have a larger goal, and it's the start of the month. So there's always this fear, there's always this doubt, there's always this like little thing in the back of your mind that's like, am I actually going to reach that goal? Am I actually going to hit it? Anytime you choose something or set some goal. And so part of my process and what I do every day is, as I'm writing down my goal, as soon as I write down my goal, there's some sort of, there's something that might come up. The other thing that I also do is I track my net worth every single day. So I'm looking at all of my accounts, investment accounts, business accounts, personal accounts, savings, checking, all of that, and basically bringing it into a single personal net worth number. Even though technically the business is its own entity, and I am, obviously my own single entity, it doesn't really matter because I'm the sole owner of the LLC. So I basically just lump it all together. So I check my net worth every single day. And then I also check my sales for that day and the previous day. And so today, when I was doing that process, I went in and I wrote down my goal, didn't have any problem with that. Like, I feel into, how do I feel about this goal? Am I excited, still excited about it? Does it feel scary? Like, I just kind of do like a quick mental check. And I had no problem with it. Like, my annual goal, revenue goal, I'm like, yeah, no problem with it. Like, I have no doubt that I will hit that goal. I just write it down every day. It's just kind of like, enjoying the journey on the way there. And then I wrote down my monthly goal, and I was like, okay, great. This is a little bit higher than last month. It's almost double. But I was just like, okay, fine, not a problem. Like, I have created exactly what I wanted in a lot of different areas of my life before. Like, I have no problem. If this is a goal that I set, then I'll hit it. Doesn't matter how long it takes, whether it's the end of this month, end of next month, end of next year. Doesn't really matter. All that matters is that once I set it, I choose it, and I know it's mine. I know I can have it. I know that I do have it, and I just kind of go from there. And then I got to checking on my net worth. So I went through the process. Started checking all my accounts and, added everything up. And I looked at the number and I was like, wait a minute. And I looked at it again and I was like, this is better. This is a lot better. And I looked at it and I was like, wow. Like, I had been seeing the exact same number for the last honestly, like the last month or so. I have been seeing the exact same number, and it's almost like it wasn't moving. And finally, like, it made a significant jump after I checked today. And then suddenly there was a boom. There was a doubt that popped up, and the thought came up like, that can't be right. That's too good to be true. And I have this process, and this is something that I'll be talking about, how I like recode myself, recode my beliefs, something that can help you as well. But I have this process that I go through where, as soon as there's a doubt, there's a fear, if there's anything that possibly could make me feel like I am not worthy, I'm not capable, I'm not, able to have the thing that I want to have, then I immediately, right away, I will respond with what I know to be true. Okay. I do not allow lies to linger, to grow for the rest of the day, the rest of the month, year, whatever. I've been there, I've done that, and I don't play games anymore. So as soon as that doubt came in, I was like, no. And I wrote down in my journal, and that became part of the page for this program. I wrote down, that's the way it's supposed to be. The normal does not include struggle or resistance. Just allow it in and stop being surprised when it gets better and better and freaking better. And I actually wrote the cuss word because I was very strong in it. And then I ended it with period, period, just like the city girls say. And after that, I was like, this is a message today, because this does not just happen to me. This isn't just something that affects me. It affects a lot of us. I know it affects some of you as well. When you're trying to manifest and you want to create something in your life, and then there's this fear, or there's this doubt, or there's this, am I good enough? Am I worthy? That can't be possible. Like, and there's a possibility that you are not allowing in the things that are already ready to come into your life, right? And it's definitely something that I've experienced a lot. And I feel like at this point, like, I'm experiencing at different levels now. In the past, it was really hard for me to just even accept a favor from someone. I was very much like, no, thank you. I can do it myself. I'm good. I'm okay. And then eventually I was like, no, I kind of do like help with this. And I actually talked about this in my How I Manifested My Husband video that's live on YouTube. It's the one that went viral. In that video, I talked about how I started to allow help from a man, allow help from someone else, and not just feel like, oh, I need to just do this on my own and just be that like strong, single, independent Black woman. I was like, no, I kind of do want some help, right? And so that part of my life, I allowed myself to receive help. But then, like, in business, I wasn't allowing myself to receive help. I was not at the point where I was investing in myself. I wasn't investing in mentors. This was several years back when I had my personal finance business. So for those of you who don't quite know the story, maybe you just met me. I'll go ahead and introduce myself for those of you who are here live. My name is LaTisha Styles. I am a stubborn believer in manifestation. I am a marketing consultant. I help my clients to generate 6 and 7 figures in their business using my introvert-friendly systems and strategies. But I started out online as a personal finance blogger. So if any of you do remember those days, I think Sandy might. Hi, Sandy. Hey, Nancy, glad to have you here. If you do remember those days, like that was my quote unquote business, is I wanted to grow as a personal finance blogger. I wanted to, have a blog, be able to just write and, get brand partnerships and things like that. And at that time, I was not asking for help. Like, I was like, I can do this on my own. I'm just going to look to see what other people are doing. And I think I had I was in like a free mastermind with me. And even in that mastermind, I even yet still had a hard time asking for help from the other people in the mastermind, even though I started seeing them just like take off with their business and start earning more and more. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I not doing, like, why can't I make this work? And later on, I came to the realization that it was because I was not allowing in what was already meant for me, not what was meant for them, but what was meant for me. And I got to the point where, long story short, the personal finance blog did not become a full-time business. I ended up going back to a full-time job after I had left my full-time job to try to take that blog full-time. Went back to a full-time job, finally got to the point where I was like, I'm going to allow myself to receive some help, and took the leap and left that new full-time job to start my coaching business at the end of October of 2015. And I've been a full-time entrepreneur ever since. I have myself on the payroll. I actually get a pay stub, which is really exciting. It's myself and 2 team members, and generate multiple 6 figures in this business so far. And once again, even better than what I've been able to do for myself is what I've been able to help my clients do, which is have a couple clients who are generating millions, or at least 1 million. I haven't checked up on their recent numbers yet, but I do have a couple 7-figure clients and then a handful of 6-figure clients and other clients who have done 5-figure launches who are on their way to 6 figures, 7 figures easily. And part of what I've learned over the past couple of years, growing this business, growing and creating my own version of a lavish life, part of what I've learned is that I had to be honest with myself about what I actually wanted. So long story short, all of that to say is that's how this how this series and how this program came to be. It was really because of that conversation that I had with myself this morning, where I was like, I get to, like, it doesn't have to be a struggle. If it doesn't have to have resistance, like I can allow in what is meant for me, and it's the normal. Like my normal shouldn't be where I look at the number and I'm like, oh, so frustrated, right? Your normal shouldn't be where you look at your number or whatever thing is that you're looking at in your life, whether it's relationship, health, wealth. Like the normal is not frustration. The normal is not, I wish it were different. The normal is not, why can't this be what I want it to be? Like your actual normal, your baseline is what you're happy with and what you're excited about and what you know that you can create from, right? It's not where you're feeling like, gosh, I wish that it wasn't like this. It's where you're feeling like, wow, this is good. And yeah, I think maybe I want more, right? It's like, it's the same thing as a baseline of like just being able to actually eat, right? So your baseline is that you get to eat or you get to breathe, right? You get to breathe air. And then sometimes you're like, well, I think maybe I want to, go on a roller coaster, or I want to go to a really nice restaurant and eat something even more extravagant, right? So the baseline is not, I'm starving or like I can't breathe, right? The baseline is that you already have like that base to create from, where you feel taken care of, you feel supported, and you feel like life is a blank slate for you, where you can literally create anything that you want. And that's the starting point for the art of allowing, which is starting with a blank canvas and being honest with yourself. So the very first thing that I did, oh, there's more comments coming in. Oh, hi, Janine. The very first thing that I did when I decided that I wanted to create this business, I wanted to create my life, I wanted to allow in all the things that were meant for me, the very first thing that I did was I started with a blank canvas. So the issue that I see a lot of people run into is that they decide and choose to manifest, but they'll choose something that's only a little bit better than their starting point. Like you'll go to a restaurant. I'm just going to keep using the restaurant example. You go to a restaurant and like, instead of ordering, for example, the filet mignon, you'll order like the steak sandwich, but you'll get fries on the side. And it's like, okay, I'm going to treat myself by just getting some fries on the side, instead of what you really want is the filet mignon, Oscar style, the asparagus, and hollandaise sauce. That's my favorite. So the issue and the problem that I see a lot of people start off with is that they don't actually they don't start with a blank slate. And so allowing in what's meant for you means like, let's create and design what's actually meant for us. Let's actually choose the thing that we want without going from what that baseline is, without looking at what other people have, without looking at, okay, what would be just a little bit better, and just really go after what you want. A lot of times the reason that you're afraid to actually just start with a blank canvas is because it almost seems too good to be true. Similar to the conversation that I had in my head earlier today. It's like, if it feels too good to be true, then it feels a little naughty, or it feels like if I get it, something bad will happen, or there's some sort of fear, or there's some sort of doubt there. But the truth of the matter is that there's nothing that's too good to be true. If you see it in your mind, in your mind's eye, and it's something that you desire and that you want, you can absolutely have it. The reason that you can see your desired manifestation and someone else who's maybe your same age, weight, height, lives in the same location, like they have no desire for that, it's because it's available for you, but not available for them. So, for example, there are people who want to be champion skiers. I have zero desire to be a champion skier, which also means that it's not available for me. It is not available for me to be a champion skier. I have one experience. Number one, I don't like the cold. I have one experience, and secondly, I have one experience going down a ski slope, and I freaked myself out. So I hung out in the little baby slope area for most of the day, and then finally my friend was like, hey, are you gonna actually go down the ski slope and get on the lift? And I said, okay, fine, let's do it. So we got on the lift, went all the way up. My heart was pounding the whole way up. We started going down, and I was like, I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. And as we were going down, I remember them saying, like, if you cross your feet, you'll slow down. And so my knees were knocked. I'm trying to cross my feet, and I'm still going too fast. But now my feet are crossed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to turn into a snowball like they do in the cartoon. And so all of that to say, I have zero desire to be a champion skier. So it's not available for me because I don't want it. But the fact that you do want something, the fact that you can see it in your mind's eye, you can visualize it, that means that it is for you. It simply means that you have to be willing to allow it in, right? You have to be willing to, and I don't want to say like willing to work for it, because it's not like there's not necessarily work that you need to do to simply allow it in. If it's something that's for you, you'll be shown the action steps to take. But I don't want you to think that, okay, like now what do I need to do? What action do I need to do? What action do I need to take? The simple action is just you being you. Like you're worthy of that thing that you want simply because you're you. There's nothing that you need to do. There's no hurdle that you need to overcome. There's nothing that needs to happen for you to be worthy of the thing that you want. You are already worthy of the thing that you want just because you're you, because you were born, because you're here, you're living, you're breathing. You are you, and therefore you are worthy of the thing that you want. So, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of us don't start with a blank slate. So what do I mean by start with a blank slate? I said it already, but I'm going to say it again. Don't just choose the thing that you have plus a little bit more. Like just like erase the whole thing. If you were able to start with a blank slate in your career, like what career would you be doing right now? If you were able to start with a blank slate in your money, like what would your money situation look like right now? If you were able to start with a blank slate in your relationship, what would your relationship look like right now? Health, what would your health look like right now? A lot of you know that recently I did my very first bikini competition, and that was me starting with a blank slate in that area of my life, starting with the blank slate in health. I thought, okay, if I could like have the body of my dreams, what would I want? And I said, well, I want abs. Like that is something that I've wanted for a very long time is to be able to look in the mirror and see that definition. And as soon as I said that, it was like a light just came on inside of me. And I knew that it was going to be a journey. I knew that there was going to be some work, because as much as I believe that manifestation happens overnight, I know that my physical body was going to take time to release fat cells. I was not just going to wake up and like suddenly have abs. I was going to have to expend energy. I was going to have to cut calories. I was going to have to lift weights. I was going to have to change my mindset and become that person who has the potential for abs, right? Become that person, and become diligent. And so I knew it was going to be a journey, but it was like something like lit up inside of me. And it was suddenly like, okay, if that's what you're choosing, if that's that blank slate in that area, that part of your life gets to up level. And now what other parts of your life get to up level? Like, what do you want in other areas? So as soon as I chose that, I essentially chose a blank slate for everything else. I was like, okay, well, if that's what I want, I also would like to be living closer to my family. A couple months later, we moved to Atlanta, where my family is. And I also said, I want to be able to only have to work 2 days, 2 to 3 days in my business where I can take, time off to work out or chill or whatever. Like, I feel like I'm a pretty efficient person, so I don't feel like I need to work a 40-hour week, and I certainly don't need to work 5 days a week, even if it's only a couple hours a day. Like, I can compress my work into, a couple of hours in a couple of days. So that's what I want for my life. I want a highly leveraged income, but I also don't want my income to drop just because I'm only working 2 days a week. And so once I started choosing, I chose blank slate. I started choosing. That's when things started changing for me. Now, the main problem that I see a lot of people run into is that you're not being honest with yourself. So I do a physique check-in every single day with myself. I do one every single week with my coaches. And I'm actually also keeping myself accountable on Instagram as well. And so I'm doing a physique check-in because I have a new goal, a new body goal for myself. And so every day I am looking in the mirror. I don't have a problem or an issue with like looking at myself in the mirror and picking things apart. I love my body. I love the way that I look at every stage. I have loved my body from when I was larger than what I am right now to the size I am right now, and I will love my body all the way along the journey. So I don't have any issues with like looking at myself in the mirror every day. I don't pick apart anything. It's simply an accountability for me to stay on top of my food, stay on top of my workouts, and also practice my posing because I do that as well. So me being honest with myself is looking at my physique check-in every single day in the mirror when I'm, on my way to working out or whatever it is, and saying, okay, great. Like, you look great. And today we're going to push harder in our workout. Today we're going to make sure we get every rep in. Today we're going to hit your cardio the way that you're supposed to. Like, you look great. And this is what we're going to do, because we're being honest with ourselves. So one of the most powerful exercises that I was ever given for this around money was during a conference, and the speaker asked everyone to take their phone out. And so he was like, take out your phone, look down, open your banking app. Everyone has their banking app on their phone. Open up your banking app. And he was like, look at that number. How does that number make you feel? And as soon as he said that, it was like, whoosh, it hit me to my core, because I was like, I don't like that number. And I had never been honest with myself to say, I don't like that number. I don't like the number that's in there. Like, I didn't like, especially at that point in time, I was like, it's not what I desire. And so after he said that, he was like, if there's a number there that you don't like, and if you don't like the way that it's going, but you don't take action to make a change, then you're basically settling for what you have. And it was an eye opener for me. And I think that was part of like his sales pitch, or like him like warming us up for the sales pitch. But truth is truth is truth. So it doesn't really matter why he said it, but the truth of the matter is, unless you're honest with yourself, it's difficult for you to actually make a change. And so what happens is, a lot of people, they push down what they know to be true. Like, they push down the truth of the matter, and they don't pay attention to the fact that they can't stand driving in traffic every single morning. Because they're like, if I admit that I don't want to drive in traffic, then I'll have to admit that I don't like this job. Then I'll have to admit that I kind of want a different career. Then I'll have to admit that I need to do my resume. Then I'll have to admit that I'm spending too much time after work doing this, that, or the other. I'm not even going to mention what it could potentially be, because I don't want anyone to, like, I'm not trying to demonize any one thing. It's just a matter of, if you know that there's something that you don't like, but if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to allow yourself to continue doing all this other stuff that really doesn't matter, right? And so I remember when I was working a full-time job, that was the one, like, that was a huge thing for me. I was like, I don't like traffic. I don't ever want to have to drive in traffic. A couple of months later, I got an apartment that was right across the street from my job because I was honest with myself. I was honest with myself about what I wanted, what I did not want, and looking at my current situation so that I could actually make a change. So that's the first thing that I want to encourage you guys to do today from today's session is number one, I want you to start with a blank slate. I want you to look at all the areas of your life, whether it's your relationship and all of your relationships. So, loving relationship, lover relationship, friendships. So look at those relationships and determine, is this exactly what I want it to be? I'm not saying you need to break off relationships or cut people out of your life. I'm simply saying to like be honest with yourself. Is this what I want it to be? And if I could make a change, what change would that be? Right? I'll tell you guys a story in just a second about the relationship side. And then the second thing I want you to do is look at your health. So, and I say health and not fitness or, anything like that, because I don't know where everyone is in their position, like what body situation everyone is in, but health, we can all do something to improve our health, right? Would you agree? So look at your health. Like, is my health where I want it to be? Is there something that I feel like I'm doing that I know I shouldn't be doing or that I know that is not healthy for me? Is there something that, like, if I had a blank slate, what would my health look like? Then from there, wealth. If I could rewrite my finances, if I could rewrite my wealth story and write it from scratch, what would that wealth story be for me? For me, my wealth story is I'm smiling as I say it because I'm very, very excited about this wealth story. My wealth story is that I pulled myself through a recession, started my own company, and became a self-made millionaire. There's no by the age of whatever. It's just, that's my story. My story is I pulled myself up by the bootstraps through a great recession and became a self-made millionaire. So that's my blank slate wealth story. So what is your wealth story? What's the thing if you were able to write a blank slate? We're not talking about how you get there or what you have to do or who you have to know or whatever. Like, what would you create? If you could create anything, and you can, if you could create anything, what would you create? That's the very first thing. And second thing is just to be honest with yourself. So look at what is currently happening in those areas, relationship, health, wealth, what's currently happening in those areas. Check your bank accounts. Like, one of the most confronting things for me was writing out my net worth every single day. Like, every single day I go in this book, I go online, I open my accounts, I have a spreadsheet that I type everything in. And once it's calculated, I write it down in this book every single day. And that was very confronting for me at the start because I was like, this number is not budging. It's not moving. It's not what I want it to be. But that honesty and that ability to actually see it was what allowed me to start making concentrated changes and shifting in a mindset of what I was doing with my money. And it was a lot, which is why it was exciting to see the numbers shift so significantly today. But that's part of that process, is like what you're measuring, what you're paying attention to is what will get managed. And then the other thing, so with my health, I personally, like I said, I do physique checks in the mirror every day. I do hop on the scale every day. I've been doing it for a very long time. I don't really have issues with the scale or like looking at the numbers. And like, I know that it changes based on water, salt, sleep, hormones, all sorts of stuff. But that's my daily check for me, is scale every day, mirror every day, because I have body goals that I want to hit, things that I'm working towards, and those are my accountability checks. And then for relationships, I'm constantly checking in with my spouse and making sure that he's taken care of, that, asking him, what can I do to make sure your love tank is full, and making sure that I'm keeping that cohesive relationship, because that is super important for me. And I think I had mentioned that I wanted to share something, a story on relationship. I should have just said it when I first thought about it. It'll come back to me. If it comes back to me, then I'll say it. Do you have any other comments? I don't see anything else come through. Okay, what I want to share tomorrow. So today was the first part of the art of allowing to release your fears, doubts, and disbeliefs, and allowing confidence, certainty, and of course, cash. I wrote that tagline, loving that tagline. So the next session that I want to cover is recoding your beliefs. So I want to talk a little bit more about how I recode my beliefs. I'm going to walk through this process, the notebook process, and I'm also going to actually read out some of the fears and doubts. So I don't write down my fears and doubts, but I do write the truth statement. But I'm going to go through some of the fears and doubts, which will help you as you're maybe creating your own manifestation process, or if you just want to borrow this from me, you'll get a great idea of how to actually implement this for you. So I will be live again. Let's see, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So about 30 minutes earlier than I was live today, for those of you who might be in a different part of the world, like South Africa. Thank you so much for joining me for today's session of the Art of Allowing. I will see you guys in the next session on recoding your beliefs. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.